black. We invented everything. Yeah. Thank God I'm black. Thank God I'm black. Thank God I'm black.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Boot Brother Podcast. My name is Shawn and my co-host, the Jason King, and we are Unapologetically Black podcast about life and business. And we have a guest today, one of my partners, man. I think this dude been my partner for like 12 years, 11. It's been a decade, I believe. But what you want to go by? Junior? You want to go by Gary Kessler? I don't know how
Junior.
Okay,
Everybody
Junior.
calls me Junior.
Bet. So my boy Kesselbach, also Junior. He is an entrepreneur, a father, a man of God, man, just a good all-around brother. We first got to know each other in good old Alaska, so we got some history, like we were saying. But without further ado, welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
Man, I'm glad to be here, man. This is an honor. You know what I'm saying? Like I always tell people all the time, man, you got to find good mentors, you know, like people that have the same vision as you and want to see you grow. And I definitely would say Shawn is a big part of that in my life. I've always knew how to cut hair. Working with Shawn in Alaska back in the days, man, was like just big, and it was instrumental because it was a grind for both of us. You know, like me, you know, just really first time ever really being in a shop and learning how a shop works, and then just seeing Shawn take, you know, what we working in. I can't remember the name of the shop, but watching him build that hair science brand, you know, like ground up. Day one, you know, everything, no loans, nothing, all from the muscle by itself. And that's inspiring when you see people do that, especially a person of color, you know. And he did it before Instagram, before social media, and before all of these different outlets. And when you see that, it's like, and for somebody to still be able to do it, that's big, man. Because I came in the industry before that as well, but like with how the industry is now, none of these younger guys understand that. They think we just were big overnight. They think you're gonna walk in a shop and you're supposed to make $2,000 a week, and it's like, dude, do you know how slow I was when I first started? It's a process. Like I wasn't busy from day one. Like I had to work. I had to mess people up. I had to learn. I had to learn how to be a great understander of like what makes clients like you. You know, because I used to, for the longest time, used to think people like you because of maybe you give a good haircut. Nope.
About that.
Good customer service. Everybody want to be treated well. That's why they like you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So once I learned that, I grew. Period.
So Kesselbach, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. So you're from North Carolina, right, or South Carolina?
Well, I lived in North Carolina. I'm not from there. I'm from Germany.
From Germany. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And then you know, I'm a boot brother too.
Yeah, you're a boot brother too. I feel.
Yeah, when we moved to United States from Germany, we moved to Louisiana. You know, we lived in Louisiana, so I lived there at least 10 years.
That's what's up.
And then I moved to North Carolina. And then like my high school career, moved to North Carolina, and then from North Carolina, I decided to join the Army, and next, I was in Alaska.
Yeah. So you end up getting stationed in Alaska. What was your thoughts when you first landed in Alaska, man? Your first thought, like, how was that?
I was like, why? Like, what am I gonna do in Alaska? Like, I was like, I don't go outside, you know, like I don't do no outdoor stuff. And then I was like, I'm black. Like they can't be black people there, you know, like. So I was like, why am I going there? And I was just upset. It took me like 3 months to like just get over it that I'm in Alaska, because I was like, man, this place is depressing, you know. But then I want to say about a year in, after I started learning the place, I still was young when I first got there too. I was 19 when I got to Alaska. 19, well, going on 20. So I really couldn't do much. I started learning and just accepting, like, hey, you know what? Take this with a grain of salt. You'll get to tell people you lived in Alaska, you know. And I was like, all right, that's what it was. And then next thing you know, everything from then on, once I started embracing it, I got the opportunity to work at the barbershop. Yeah. And then just life went on from there. It was great.
So you were in the military, man. Appreciate your service. I know you ain't in it no more, but I appreciate all my vets, bro. Like, what was your biggest takeaway from being in the military? Like, what was the one thing you say, like, if I had not went to the military, I might not have learned about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I think if I didn't go to the military, I wouldn't be able to apply discipline in areas when I need it the most.
Okay.
You know,
Let's take it.
yeah, like the discipline. I think like I say it all the time to people. Me personally, I've never failed at nothing that I've tried to do when the discipline was there. I've only failed at things when I lack discipline. You know, so that's the key. You know, so when I look at it like that, why didn't something work out? It always goes back to discipline. It don't never go back to you ain't good at something, because you can become good at anything that you want. It's always the discipline. Like maybe your mind's not 100% there, and you just hey, it ain't for you.
That's right. So you was in the military, then you decided that, hey man, I got a couple of hours after work, I want to start cutting hair. What was that like? What pushed you to want to get in the shop? You could have did it on the side. You didn't have to come to and it was House of Cuts. You don't remember your first shop, but the House of Cuts. What really pushed you to want to come in like cutting the shop?
It was actually from my supervisors, my first sergeant and those guys, like, because they was like, why don't you go get a job off base cutting hair too? You know, and I never thought of it. And I was like, y'all will let me? And they was like, yeah, if you sign that, you go get it approved by the company commander. They was like, you're allowed to have another job in the military. People do it all the time, but yeah, you have to go through the right channel. Go through your superior first, your supervisor, and then from your supervisor it goes to the first sergeant, and then from the first sergeant it goes to the company commander. And they was all for it. You know, they was like, well, you did cut hair for us that whole year when we was in Iraq, you know, free of charge. I cut hair. I mean, 150 soldiers, like, and that was my job. Like, they made me cut hair, and I ain't get paid a dime.
Oh,
exactly. Not even $5. So I was just cutting hair, and they was like, well, we owe you at least that. Yeah. So they allowed me to cut hair. I think I was working, what was it, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. Like, bro, they let me work.
You was in that shop every day after work, man. You was hungry.
I was there after work, but I remember.
Yeah. But like, Saturdays was your day, like for sure.
They gave me those days, and I was just like, it was a blessing, and it was kind of overwhelming because it was like military. You don't gotta cut good. You know, it's like I'm cutting better than what they doing on base. I knew that. You know, you getting 2 chair spins with me. You're not getting one. You know, like them little Asian ladies, you get 1 spin done. Like their chair spin around once. All right, next. And I was just like, it was overwhelming at the same time, and it was like I wanted to be really good at it. So I was stressed at the same time. Like I didn't show it, but it was overwhelming. It was. You know, it was a big deal for me because I was like, dang, this is something I might be doing after the military. So, and I just started loving it more and more and more and more and more, you know, and then it's just like, wow. And I made really good money off of the short amount of time that I worked, but I didn't have that right business mindset at that time. I wish I did, you know, like I wish, like, and that's where it comes, man. You got to have a coach. That hey, you got an extra $1,000 coming in, $2,000. What are you gonna do with it? Like, I wish I had that mindset of like, hey, put this up and get a property. You know, do this because it would have been that simple. You know,
what he's trying to tell y'all is we was lightweight balling back then.
Yeah, man.
We was getting it, man. Like, and he was working in the military, so all of his bills were pretty much paid. So like he had free income, like for real.
Yeah, for sure. It was just free income, and I treated it as free income. I didn't save a dime of it. You know, like
that's the game. That's the game.
a dollar. I was like, man, you know. But I'm happy I had that experience then, because now I don't do that no more. I'm done with that life. Like, as far as all of that, like, I don't even go out clubbing. I don't do none of that stuff no more that I used to do when I was younger. I even separated myself from people that I hung around. You know, and like, it sucks because some of these people I would call my real friends, but it's like, how am I gonna teach somebody or even just teach my children if I'm allowing somebody to do certain things, you know, and if I don't agree with it, I'm not teaching them nothing.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. So what was that like? So you said you felt overwhelmed, and like, I want you to take people back, bro, because we came up a different type of way, and I think it needs to be fully articulated. When we came up, like, there was like two barber 2 barber DVDs out there, y'all. Like no shade. It was like Enter the Zone or something like that.
Yeah,
with the Dragon Clippers, and then this guy out of Atlanta named Alex Campbell. Shout out to Alex Campbell. He's still good with us. But like that was it. So like all of these young people, they got all these references and stuff like that. What was the experience like that in barbershops? Like just having to pretty much learn under the gun like that?
Man, it was difficult, man, because like what my way of learning, like real talk, how I would learn, like I would buy these DVDs and I would bring them to the shop. Me and Shawn would go through them because we both wanted something. We both wanted to be better. You know, like you got all like these Spanish dudes come in, they was taking over, and it was like, all right, why are they like? I get it, and they been good, you know. Like I don't know what it is.
It was 12.
Yeah, like they razor and cat since they was already 12 years old. So it was like my way of learning was like the DVDs. I'm a very, very, very visual learner. Like I don't physically have to do it to learn. I can watch it and learn it. Some people are not. They got to be more hands-on. So I'm very visual and I'm very good at what I see. I can explain it to the next person probably better than the dude doing it because I'm watching what he's doing. It like that's one thing that I was blessed with, that ability to watch something. So I learned by going to get haircuts by people. I'm in the chair like I'm trying to. They put the clipper down. I'm trying to spin the chair slightly so I can see what the angle looked like. All right, yeah, he probably did that. You know, like little stuff like that. Because I'm a visual learner, and it was just an art and appreciation too. Like I wanted to be the best that I could be, and it was different, man. That we didn't have this YouTube that these guys got now. Like, and that's what's crazy though. That not even looking at that. If me and Shawn would have decided to like do a YouTube, we had one of the biggest YouTube channels on. Booming. like we would have probably the biggest barber YouTube channel on the planet right now if we just was like, yo, why don't we do that? Even though like even us not being good, we still would have taught people. Like that's what it bothers me because I was like, man, people don't realize I was like, man, I've been doing this YouTube thing for 15 plus years. Like, if I would have just started a channel, I would probably have the biggest YouTube. And I'm not discrediting no barber out there, but I think I would have one of the biggest YouTube channels, period, in barbering. Not because of that. I think my personality would have got me a little bit further than, you know, a lot of the other stuff. And then now I can cut. Like, I would have been able to actually give you a good haircut too. But it's like, wow, you know, I missed that opportunity too. That's like Bitcoin right there. I missed that one. Like,
who you talking about?
Know, like, God,
bruh.
You know,
when you talking about Bitcoin, I was in college and they introduced Bitcoin and Facebook. I remember the day when I signed up for Facebook, and then I remember when Bitcoin rolled out. It was $100. If I would have put $100 in the Bitcoin right now, I wouldn't be working for the rest of my life.
Yeah, word.
Bro, if you would have put $1 in it right now, you'd be
man, I'm just saying.
At 100, if you would have put $1 in it when it was at 100, you'd be chilling right now. $1,
man.
Like, you would be chilling. You would. I don't know what the equation on that is, but I'm pretty sure it's $200,000-$300,000. You know, on $1 back then. You know, probably more. You know, like, but it's crazy. You know, when you see those opportunities, it's like, when am I going to learn to stop missing? Like, golly.
Yeah.
So that's good, man. That's a good segue. So you eventually leave Alaska. You get down to a shop, a very, very, very famous shop in the barber.
Well, before, no.
You went back. Hold on. You went back to North Carolina, right?
Exactly. So I went back to North Carolina. And then when I went back to North Carolina, I linked up. North Carolina's so strict though on how they do things. So they wouldn't, North Carolina wanted me to go back to school. And I was like, I ain't going back to no school. Y'all crazy. You know, so when I moved to North Carolina, I was like, I ain't doing that. But I did it. You know, I still did it because I wanted to cut, man. So and I linked up with this guy named Rodney. I consider him another mentor in my life. And I was like, man, I'm going to just do it. You know, so I went to the school. And I was already really decent at that time, you know, cutting hair. I went into the school. I was cutting his hair within like a week there. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna need a haircut. Like, yeah, you know, like within a week there, I was already cutting the teacher's hair. finish the school. North Carolina is very, very difficult on getting a barber's license. Like North Carolina is probably one of the most difficult states in the U.S. to get a barber's license, period.
Wow.
I'll put that against any state. Like they take that stuff so serious on like the barber license. So it's 1,528 hours and you have to do 2 practical exams.
Oh, you got to make sure that you know. Okay, wow.
Yeah, you have to do it live. Like you physically have to do a haircut live and the 14-step shave live twice. You know, so like no other states do that. You know, they ain't, I don't even, a lot of states are removing that part of the test. Like you still might have to take Shawn, we lost you. All right. You still might have to do that part of the test, but a lot of states are removing that. So I had to do that thing twice. So I go work in a barbershop. The guys I was working with, awesome guys. And what was cool about them, one of them was a pastor. And one of them was like I want to say a deacon in the church. So that was cool too. Like coming from working in Alaska and then going to work with 2 more guys that are mentors. You know, like 2 more guys that could be a very inspiration in your life. So I was like, all right, this is a blessing in disguise. Like I'm working with these guys and me being like the younger one of them, but you know, I had a decent head on my shoulders. I wasn't no crazy kid at that time. So they brought me in quick. They open arms. I was killing it. I was making a name for myself so quick, but it just wasn't what I wanted. I felt like I was living in Alaska, but living in North Carolina. And I was like, man, for this, I should have stayed in Alaska. I started really second guessing. Did I make the right decision? I should have just stayed in Alaska and like tried to build like a little empire there. Yeah. You know, I was second guessing myself and I was like, dang, I had it sweet there. Like if I would have stayed in Alaska, man, me and Shawn probably could have did something spectacular because it still wasn't untapped. Exactly. And it's still, I mean, I know it's a little bit bigger now, but it's still untapped. For sure. You know, like when you look at how the business is, if you look at Alaska compared to where I'm at now, it's untapped, man. It's, oh my God. It's like that. Oh my God. It's crazy. I can't even explain how much better it is to work in a place. And I always tell people it's better to work in untapped locations. As far as barbering, you can make more money than bigger cities. And people look at me like I'm crazy. I was like, dude, I've done it. Well, I was like, dude, what y'all making here in like a week? I was like, dude, you could do that in 2 days in Alaska. You know, like, and people they'd be looking at me like I'm crazy. And I was like, dude, why you think all those Puerto Ricans will go over there for 2 months and don't leave? Because they ain't never made no money like that. I said, these dudes can go over there and make $2,000-$3,000 in a week if they really willing to grind. They ain't making that in Puerto Rico. They might make that in a month. They can make that in a week over there. And I was like, untapped locations for barbering is better because you can demand your price on a certain thing. It ain't no more like you have to compete with this guy. It's like, no, I got this. Do you want it or not? And you can pick and choose with it like that because it's only 150,000 people living in the community, but you can get 20,000 of them. You know, that's a lot. You know, people don't look at it like that. But now that as I'm getting older and I'm seeing it, I'm starting to see that side of the fence, and it's like, wow. You know, there's levels to this stuff. It
is. So you go to North Carolina. You say that you're feeling uncomfortable. What happened? Because eventually, I know you do get down to Florida, where you're at.
Well, it was for the thing like me making the wrong choice, man. I started really believing like that I deserve more, but my more came with the price of me willing to work harder. You know, because that's when the barber game really started changing. You started seeing like the Pacino's brand, and you started seeing that stuff. And I was like, "Dad, these dudes are doing it big, like on a different level than what I've seen." And then I've never seen people like. I think that's when I seen Mark the barber. I ain't never seen nobody cut that good. And I was like, "Whoa, how is he cutting that good? Like, what is he? I got the same clippers. I went and bought the same ones, and I was like, I got the same guards. Like, what is going on?" So I like, no, man, there's no way. No, so I would call Andy's like, yo, I bought the same clippers as him, but it ain't the same. Like, you got to call the manufacturer.
Yes, sir.
It ain't the same. So I seen that he put on his Instagram. This is like Instagram kind of first started like hiring Remix Barbershop. So I was like, what? And I was like, yo, this is my opportunity. It came across my screen. I'm supposed to reach out to him. So I instantly sent him a message. No, I called because I don't think you can send DMs or nothing at that time. I called I Googled the shop. I called and I was like, listen, man, I seen that you posted on Instagram that you're looking for a barber. I said, I would love to have an opportunity to get an interview. And he was like, all right, email me a few pictures of like your work. And normally what we do is we have everybody come do a demo haircut. And then, you know, if you fit, he said, you fit, you know, and he said, it's not about, do you cut good? He said, if you want to learn, we'll know. And he said, I'm willing to teach. And I was like, all right, cool. I said, but I'm in North Carolina. Like that's, so and he was like, what do you mean you're in North Carolina? And I was like, I'm in North Carolina. Like I would come down there. And he's like, so this is like, I don't think barbers was moving states yet. This was like LeBron James, you know, minus the talent, you know, like I didn't have the LeBron James talent. I had the heart and the mind, but not the talent. So he was like, so what are you telling me? And I said, well, if you give me the opportunity, I'll move down there. And he said, okay, that's weird. He said, you would move down here to work at a barbershop. And I said, of course. I said, ain't that how you grow? And, you know, and he was like, well, let me talk to my mentor. So he reaches out to his mentor. I mean, he said, I'll call you back in a day or so. He never called back. It was like 3-4 days. And I was like, dang, dude ain't call. So I was like, you know what? You got to call him. This is just like a regular interview. You know, like you got to call him. Right. So I called and I was like, listen, I'm the guy. And he was like, oh yeah. He said, listen, bro, my mentor told me don't hire you because he said it's a big responsibility. You know, he's like, because what if you don't work? He said, you know, you're kind of responsible for that guy. If he moves all the way down here and it doesn't work, you're kind of responsible. So I just don't think it's a good move. And he said, but he was like, but talking to you on the phone, he said, I don't hear failure as an option with you. You know, and I was like, nope, not at all. So he was like, when could you start if I was to give you the job? I said, I'll be there next week. And he said, you're going to leave North Carolina and come here next week? I said, sure will. Next week, I lied. I was there in 2 days. I got there in 2 days. like I was like, nah. I said, I packed up all my stuff. I drove down there. I told my wife, and I was like, listen, as soon as I make enough money, we'll get an apartment. You know what I'm saying? And I'll bring y'all down. So I called my father. My father was a blessing for that. Like I called him and I explained what I wanted to do. He was like, well, how much does it cost for an apartment? And I said, I don't know, first, last security. You know, so, and he was like, all right, go find out what it costs, where you want to live. So I found out I needed like $5,600 to like be able to move in and furniture, like, well, 56 just to move in. So my dad was like, all right, I'm going to give you $12,000. You know, exactly. So he gave me that. I paid the first, last security, and that was enough to get furniture and like furnish the whole house. And, you know, and then pay the bills up for a few months. Because he's like, you know what, you might as well pay up the bills. And so he said, I'm not going to let you go down there without your family. You're going to take them within a week of you getting there. That's you know, and so I was like, that is blessing in disguise. And I was like, Dad, you know what? Cool. So my first week at the barbershop was December 15th. That first week I worked from Monday to Sunday. I made $1,800 my first week there. No clients, nothing, just walk-ins. Just walk-ins, $1,800. And I was just like, I was blown away. And this was $1,800 from slavery though, because haircuts was like 15 and 20. So
yes, sir. So before that, I think you got to put the pretense on it. So the shop that he's going to, like these dudes know how to cut. Oh, now yeah. Junior is my man's, but he wasn't on this level.
No, not at all. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. So tell them about that. The first day you get in the shop.
Our first day I get there in the shop, like they set me up too. They was like, first walked in. Everybody said, you want them? Like they wanted to see what I had. Man, I'm happy it wasn't all even. You know, like I laced the all even, and soon as like I got one of those, like, so it was, oh yeah, he could cut. You know, everybody was hype. Then they gave me one of them little low fades. And I was like, man, like I didn't realize how difficult cutting like hair that looks like mine, Dominican, like Spanish looking hair was with the fade. Like, I knew people used to struggle cutting my hair because of how difficult it was, but I ain't never really had to cut a dude that had the same hair as me. I've really never had a client that had that. So when I got a man, oh my God, like I'm cutting for 2 hours, dog, like just cutting. It ain't looking right. Line. But Mark was the type of barber, and I love him for that, because I don't think that there's enough barbers like this in the industry, especially business owners. Mark walked over there on what you struggling with, because it was his guy. It wasn't no thing like you go over, like I've been in shops before. If you go over there, talk to another barber about something that's bad, they look at you like you trying to size them up or whatever, like you think you better than them. And then when I got there, they wasn't like that. Everybody there was like, nah, bro, we in this together. You mess up, we mess up. That was the mentality of everybody. You're only as good as your weakest one. Like we can't have one haircut go bad in all 10, because they're not gonna say they did 45 good fades. They're gonna say they did one bad one. You know what I'm saying? Like people only remember failures. They don't remember nothing that you did great. So he came over there and he showed me like a few different things. And then he was like, this, when you're doing this, do this. And then, I mean, the fade, he didn't like do it for me, made me do it. It wasn't like one of his fades, but it was a passable fade. And I was like, Dad, I wasn't embarrassed. The dude that I got the haircut with, he came back and got another haircut with me the next following week. So it wasn't like he was upset either that Mark helped. It was like, I guess he knew. I guess he liked me as the person, like, because I was talking to him and I wasn't like nervous. It was just, and then from that day forward, what happened was the whole barbershop actually liked me as a person. All of them would call me. Hey, if I wasn't cutting hair, Junior, come over here, watch. You know what I'm saying? I want you to learn this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was, I blew up quick. So all I remember is about 3 months in working at the shop, Mark pulled me to the side. And he said, Junior, I've never had no employee ever in my life blow up as fast as you did, far as like your clientele, get good as quick. I went from, I'm telling you, not good at all to like 3-4 months. I was cutting Mark's hair. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was a lot of YouTube. It was a lot of standing at people's chairs when I wasn't cutting, learning, and quick. And it was just, and then when I look at it, I was like, Dad, but I wanted it. That's why it happened. It happened because I wanted it, and I had the people that was willing to support me to get it. It wasn't no saltiness. There was not one person I couldn't walk up to and ask, yo, I'm struggling with, doing this. What are you doing? Yeah, it was like a family. And I was like, dang, man, I wish this culture like here would like rub off on other barbershops throughout the world. Cause it doesn't, man. It's crazy. Especially like when you see stuff that's going on in the barber industry right now, like the versus battles. Like, I'm not a fan of them, man, because they're biased. I feel like they're not fair. Like you're asking a barber to come to Philadelphia, and like these guys ain't getting paid, so I'm not about to fly models out to make sure I can give like these dudes are giving these dudes rinky dink models, and then one dude will get a great model, and it's like, bro, that ain't fair. Yeah. How is that fair? And like, if y'all really want to cut, both of y'all should be doing the same haircut. It shouldn't be different haircuts. Yeah. It should be a fade battle. Who does just the nicest fade? It shouldn't be who does the best haircut. Because if a guy does like a slight design and guy does a clean fade, a person that doesn't know nothing about haircuts is going to probably still gravitate to the person that did the design. That's right. And it's like, that don't mean he's a better barber. That just mean he might be a better artist or something like that. So I don't like him because it's like promoting. It's not really promoting what they're trying to get from, is promoting bad energy. People are upset with the results and they're, and it's like, it's
the same energy though at the barber battles though. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it was the barber battles 2.0. You know what I mean? Just the COVID-19 version of them. You're exactly right, man. There's a lot of favoritisms that go into it. It's not always the best guy. It's almost like some of them feel like they almost rigged, bro. Like they just circulate 100%. The money right back into the same camp. So,
I feel the same way, and it sucks too when it sucks because a lot of these dudes I know. And And when you see it, it's like, oh man, y'all robbed that man. Like, but I'm not finna get up there and say how I feel about something. I don't got 50, 60,000 followers like some of these other guys got. Ain't nobody gonna listen to me, but people know I ain't lying. When you see that stuff. So it's like, I'm just staying in my place. Don't ask me to battle. I ain't doing it because you don't get nothing from it. It don't teach. We should be teaching seminars on credit. We should be teaching seminars on open up a LLC. That's why we ain't getting paid what we supposed to get, because we're not rappers. Stop treating like we are. We're not. We ain't no rappers. We're entrepreneur business guys, and that's how we should be teaching.
Yeah, but that's the thing to me, is that I don't believe, and that's my whole thing. So, we could talk about this all day. It's just the elevation of the game and what that looks like. And, if you talk about barbers from the 80s to barbers now, like, what's the big difference? And if you look at any other profession, like you will want there to be some metric other than, I think these are the most skilled barbers, but that's also because of the advancement of technology, the advancement of the equipment, the advancement of education and just information as a whole, right? It's easier to get better in a shorter amount of time because you literally can have 50 different barber instructors on your phone at any point in time. So that's a given. But let's look at the bottom line as far as who's really making money, who's really buying property, who's really, it's like Rick Ross. I don't know if you've seen Rick Ross. He got this little clip. And he talk about, when I'm talking about who the biggest boss, I'm not talking about music. He said, I'm not talking about music. It's about life. I'm talking about who really winning, who created the most millionaires in this certain period of time. Yeah. And when he said that, it made me think of our industry. You know what I mean? Like, Mark has been one of those guys that I could say, man, that dude, he duplicated himself in a lot of people and still relevant and still doing the same thing. But for the most part, man, few and far between, man. People are not really mentoring people. And if they are mentoring people, they're mentoring, instead of us coming up in this game and knowing what was wrong and where we fell short, we just perpetuate that same cycle to the next generation and don't even say
I think it's worse now, though. I think what we're doing now is worse. Like what you said, we're more skilled now. We got more advancements, but I still think a barber from the 70s was better business minded than a barber is today. They ran a business they treated the barbershops as a business. That's why we're still so celebrated today, because we're still living off what people did in the 70s.
Somebody else clout.
Yeah, we're living off of theirs, but we ain't created no change in ourself. We're just glorified. People don't get it wrong. Haircut is major. What it does to somebody. It's major. It's not, people just think it's a haircut. It's major. But we just cut hair at the end of the day. We do cut hair, but we can turn that simple haircut into something super serious, because I could give somebody a really good haircut and he could walk outside and somebody perceives him different, but he still could be the same dirtbag. That's right. But you know what I'm saying?
True.
It's true, but he can still be the same dirtbag. And then a guy that doesn't have a haircut, he looks less of a guy that has the haircut, but he could be the real winner. He just ain't had time to get the haircut because he's busy. And that's our society. It's that cycle of judgmental stuff. We still judge people based off appearance. Don't get it wrong. There's a lot of people that get haircuts, and usually a haircut does mean somebody is neatly groomed, but it's not always the case. So it's bad, man. I don't like where we're going in the next 10 years, 20 years. And it goes even to I don't even like where the barber industry is going, because I think business owners around the world are going to struggle to find barbers.
Wow. What you mean by that?
I think with how social media and all of this, you're just going to have people trying to do it on their own, like studio salon suites and more stuff like that, and not coming to barbershops, because it's well, I'm going to go pay this dude, $200-$300 a week rent when I can do this, and just because a lot of people, what I've learned, me being a business owner now, barbershop, a lot of people don't want what they say they want.
Ooh, talk about it, Junior. Talk about it.
They don't. They think they want that, but they don't really want what they say they want, because once they realize that it requires a lot of You can't be watching Netflix. You can't be at the club to get that. They don't want it because they're not willing to make that small sacrifice to get it. Like I started investing in stocks and stuff these last like year and a half, and I've learned so much in such a short time. And it's like, dang, but when I look at where I'm learning in that, I'm learning in those hours at like 7 at night to like 9 p.m. at night. I ain't learning that stuff during the regular day. I'm learning after all the other stuff's been done. So it's like I'm taking time out of like, I guess, my personal life to learn a new skill. And that's what people, when you tell people that, like, hey, you got to stay up a little bit later to get that little thing that you want. What? You mean to tell me I can't get it while I'm doing this one? No, don't work like that. Like Amazon wasn't created like during the day, it was created at nighttime when everybody else was asleep. He still was working, and that's how these companies, those guys that create these major companies, I learned this from this book called Resonate. The people in the world that are winners are the people that know how to override procrastination. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastination is a disease. It's not that you're not good at something. We procrastinate everything. Like everything we procrastinate. And there's usually a trigger. Like just imagine, say you're in college. There's people that write, like say you got a paper due and you had 4 weeks to do the paper, but you're doing it on Thursday and it's due Friday. I was arguing with somebody like a week ago. They told me, but I put out my best work when I'm my back against the wall. No, you don't. There's no physical way you do. It's no physical way. You put out your best work if you did it within that 2 week period, and then you can keep looking at it because now you can revise your own stuff without having other revisions, because you're going to change your mind on a day-to-day because you might experience something that's different, and it's procrastination, and everybody knows that. Like everybody knows that they procrastinate. Everybody has it. And how do you beat it? If I knew how to beat a procrastination, I wouldn't be cutting hair. I'd be selling procrastination stories, how to beat it, because that is a big disease. That is like, it's a virus, but it starts off with your, I do think it is, not genetics, but I do think it's learned from how you were raised.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
I do think that you're taught procrastination. You're not like, it's not one of those things that you just do. I think we're taught it, how we're taught in school, how they give you assignments, how they give you time to do stuff. That all creates procrastination because now you realize you got time, and it's like that we're creating it. And it's like, okay, but why would the school system want to teach you procrastination? They can't have a million winners. That's why. You can't.
This is true.
You can't. That's why they teach it that way. Because if everybody was a winner, it'd be, like the information is there to be successful now. But that goes back to being success ain't for everybody. It ain't, man. You gotta want it. Or you got to get around people that push you to get it. So I want to see
how important is that? You say like getting around people that are going to push you. Do you feel like that's been a major part of why you're in the position you're in?
Man, that right there, I'm gonna be so definitely people, but really like where I can say I'm gaining a lot more from is God.
There you go.
I don't need nobody else, because he's gonna lead. Like at the end of the day, you're supposed to be doing what he tell you to do anyway. Sometimes we want to go do stuff that we want to do, but that ain't what he wants you to do. That's why I don't go through right. Like everybody has a purpose. And I feel like just seeking God more and just becoming more spiritual, it's led me to the right people that's gonna put me in those positions to do the right things. Like my circle changed. Like, oh my God, I'm telling you, I talk to people that I probably would have never talked to ever in my life. Because it's like I can talk to them on certain levels, but we still might not got nothing in common. When it comes to like, they ain't gonna watch basketball with me or like stuff like that. But there's certain things that I can get from them that I can't get from other people. So that is what it is. But mentors are very important. You need people. I don't think just a mentor. You need somebody that's great in the area you're trying to excel at.
That's right.
Yeah.
If somebody's like a great husband, use him as how to be a better husband.
Yep.
Because he might not be great at financial, so don't use him as that.
That's right.
Use him as what he's great at. Don't put him in a position to give you advice or something he's not great at, because he's not gonna be able to give you the best advice. So I think it's a thing, man. You gotta have people. You gotta like have multiple people around you that can uplift you. You know, like it's important. Very.
I totally agree. And Jason, you wanted to add something to that, man?
I was like, the thing that he was going in on about when people have those learned behaviors. It's a saying that they always say, work smarter, not harder. But it's no way getting around working harder. It's no way. So I tell people this all the time. Like I used to deal with my brother, and he would always say, "Why you always doing stuff the hard way?" Because I say, once I do it the hard way, then it becomes easy to me. Then I can actually teach somebody else without them going through that trial and error, becoming a mentor. So just like Junior said, one of the things that we do, we find people that we are missing that piece of that puzzle, because we in individual life, we just like a puzzle. So if you don't have the good relationship, you find that guy with the good relationship. Like when I found Shawn, I was always asking myself those business questions. What do I need to know that I'm missing? Because I've been in business long enough, but it was always a missing piece. It was always something that somebody wouldn't tell me because they didn't want me to excel to that next point.
And let me say something real quick with that, Jason. You could finish right after that. And also, I was always looking for people that would be receptive to business advice. So what you are seeking is seeking you. It's crazy, bro. Like the exact same thing that you're seeking in your life is somebody else out there that's seeking for a mentee that's going to listen. Because many times, like as a person that's been a mentor, a lot of times you're around a lot of knuckleheads. They ain't trying to hear nothing that you're trying to say. So it'll be the same advice, but if it's given to the wrong audience, it's not even worth it. The value is not even there. So I just wanted to say that while you're on there, so we didn't skip that part, because it's so valuable. Because sometimes people think this mentor-mentee thing is one way. No, it's not. A mentor ain't even a mentor without a mentee, without somebody to actually keep the legacy going on. You just a dude that just know a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And just like me, I had 13 years of doing this. I was in the military as well, and then when I was doing all of this stuff, and I figured myself to be disciplined, doing stuff the right way, because I tell y'all that I had anger issues. My thing was, when I went into the military, they was, hey, you need to chill out. You going against the drill sergeants. You finna get us beat. And I was like, I didn't care, because I was raised up around it. So when you talk about that behavior, that's that learned behavior. We're taught to compete instead of to compromise, and that's a major key of destruction right now. Is so many people are trying to be in like a sports era. Like we look at fancy cars, this, that, and the third. But if you really pay attention to what the economic shift is, cryptocurrency, stocks, everything is going electronic. You see the evolution and you see it going that way, but you're too busy watching foolishness. Like that cutoff season is real, because I had to, like, man, when I tell you half of the people that I used to hang with, I don't hang with anymore, because their mindsets were garbage.
Yeah.
Their mindsets were garbage. And for me being like a coach and having to go into it, the first hour of me dealing with people when it comes to anything from drop shipping, from website building, it's always getting them into the mindset of, hey, you can do this.
You can do it. Yeah.
You can do this. You're just looking for a way out, a way not to do it. That procrastination, that you got to get into that subconscious mind, not your front brain, because that's what I tell people. Your first initial thought is going to be, you can't.
Yeah.
But if you can get your mental status to get into the back of your mind to where you're always thinking about how to progress. Like the one thing that you said, Junior, was so key to listen. When I heard you say it, you said you wanted to strive to be better. So it's a book we're reading right now. I swear, this book right here. This
Laws
book
of
right
Leadership.
here. Yes, this book right here. I thank Shan for bringing this book up because it made me think about leadership in a different way. Because when it said something about you'll go into your lid, you're literally capping yourself off. Oh, I got a nice house. I got a nice car. I can chill right here. No, I need a mansion. Yeah. I need an airplane, a jet. So the reason why I need these things is to bring more people out of this fog that we're in, because mentally we're in like a state of murky thought. And then to get up, we tell people your mindset is going to get you set. Yeah. Period. That's how it goes. It's like whatever you think you're gonna go take yourself into. So like, man, I love doing the podcast. I love engaging with people. I said, this is the biggest part right here. We're engaging with people. People get to see a different view. Because I'm a country boy. I grew up on a farm, but my daddy, from when I was little, he had computers in my face. Telling me this, telling me that. I had the first Apple computer, the one that looked like a bubble with the pink color. I took it apart, rebuilt it, rebuilt it again until I understand the inner workings of a computer. So now when I look at stuff and I see something go wrong, I already know how to fix it.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, so Kesselbach, so like Jason was just talking about his father. So I think this is a good segue here. You end up buying that shop that you were at. You end up becoming you went from one of the guys working there, the least talented barber at first initially, to being one of the most popping barbers, to having a chance or opportunity to actually owning the shop. And your dad played a big part of that. Can you kind of tell us that story and how that all played out?
We was just regular cutting one day. Mark was like, I'll sell this shop. And he was like, I'll sell it for $50K. And I was like, what? And I was like, $50K? Bro, this joint is pumping. Like, you got 9 barbers in here and everybody's making like $1,500 a week. Like, you sell that for $50K, you crazy. You know, like, and I was like, So I waited. I said, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna be like letting these dudes know what's on my mind. like I'm gonna be quiet. As soon as we got off work, he got that little text message. Hey, you serious? Like, you serious about selling the shop? $50K? And he was like, Junior, you ain't serious about buying a shop. You told me you didn't want to own a shop. I said I didn't, but I ain't say I wouldn't buy one that's already established. Like, you crazy? Right. Like, that's different. I ain't gotta do nothing. I said, no, I want it. And he was like, all right, let me think about it. And then he came back. It was like, Junior, he said, I've been thinking. I just been like, he said, if I'll sell it, but you got to give me 80. And I said, 80? And I said, all right. I said, let me call my dad. So this was like 3 years of me working at the shop too. So this is like a 3-year one. I'm only at the shop 3 years. Called my dad. I was like, Dad, listen, you told me to start looking for a house because you was gonna, like, you know, pay whatever we had to pay to get in the house. You know, and I was like, I think this is better than buying a house. I said, this is a business opportunity. I said, I buy my own house, you know? And he was like, yeah, but that just doesn't make sense. Nobody's gonna sell you something that's booming like you say it is. That was my dad's energy. And I was like, no, I work there, Dad. Like, it's pretty booming. And I was like, and I said, I don't know if he's lying on the tax documents or whatever. I don't know what's going on. You know, I said, but that shop's making money. And so my dad said, well, I'll be there in 2 weeks. We'll look at it. So my dad comes, he looks at it. He said, wow, this is a nice shop. You know, like, never really been in a barbershop that looked like this. And he was like, you sure he said that? And I was like, yeah. So my dad was like, well, how much do you need? And I said, well, I need about 55. And he was like, you need 55,000. I was like, yeah. And I said, because I already got 25 myself. And he said, where'd you get $25,000 from? That was his. He was like, you just got here. You know, like you've been here 3 years. You needed money for me to get here. Like, you know, that was, and I was like, I mean, I said, I told you we pumping here. Like I was able to save that, you know, like, and he was like, you saved $25,000 by yourself. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, wow, that's pretty good. I'm impressed. So he said, all right, give me a day. So he went to the bank. He went and got me $55,000 at the bank, like that. He said, I'm gonna deposit it in your account, and he said, go get the shop. So he gave me the 55. I went to the I told Mark like a week after we discussed. I said, all right, I got the money. He was like, what? You got the money? He didn't believe me. I said, Mark, I got the money, dog. Are we doing this or not? And he was like, yeah. He said, let's do it. And I was like, all right. So I said, how do you want to get paid? And he was like, can you give me, he said, can you give me 30 in cash and then the rest in like a check? And I was like, I think so. So I went to the bank and I was like, hey, listen, I need $30,000 cash. They looking at me crazy. And I didn't know how it worked. Like I ain't never took that much money out of a bank. And they was looking at me, you can't get $30,000 in cash. Where'd you get $30,000? They was like, and I was like, I have it in my banking account. And they looking at me like I'm, got no $30,000. They opened up my account. I had 80 in there. Like, and I was like, I told y'all I had it. Like, so next thing you know, they was like, well, we can't give you $30,000 in cash. You got to order that. You know, we wouldn't have no more money to give nobody else. And I'm like, I start throwing a fit because I didn't know it worked like that. I was like, man, y'all gonna give me my money? Like, that don't make no sense. You know, like, what do you mean I only can take out $5,000 today? Like, y'all have my money. It's right here. You know, and they was like, no, we can't. So they ordered it. I had to come back in like 3 days. They had me in like a back room. They counted $30,000 in front of me about 40 times. Like 10 different people had to come count it. Wow. That's how I was like, y'all, this is crazy. Like, I was like, are y'all serious? So they kept counting it, took the money. They was like, do you need an escort? And I was like, no. Like, nobody knows I'm coming to get this money. Like, y'all the only ones that know. I said, if I get got, it's because of y'all. Like, that's how they counted the money about 30 times with y'all. Like, no. You know, and so I get the money. I go to the shop. And this is how Mark was new to this stuff too. Like this, I did all the legwork. I wrote Mark's contract of me buying it. Like, you know, like I wrote the contract. Hey, Mark the barber to, you know, like I wrote it for him and he just had to sign it. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Cause I didn't know either, but he didn't know either. Like, this is like, and that's what's so dope. Like, me and Mark right now to this day still have like one of the most amazing relationships. He still calls me right now to this day, credit questions, finance questions, like stuff like awesome. Like stuff like that. Cause he never learned it. And he knows I have some sense, and he knows I'm not going to ever steer him in the wrong way. Or if I don't know, he knows I would go get the right answer from somebody, and I would be able to break it down in a way he can understand it. You know what I'm saying? So he, right now to this day, we still have that relationship. So, you know, I do all the stuff. I give him the cash. And then basically he worked there for like another 2 years. Like after I bought the shop, it wasn't like he took the money, he was gone. You know, he worked there, and then he finally found his spot, you know, what he wanted to do. And blessings to him, you know, now he's doing what he envisioned in the first place. Like he wants to have a lot of barbershops. I think that's cool, but I talk to him all the time. I told him that he needs to slow down because stuff's changing. You know, like do smaller. Like you can go with the shops, but don't try to keep doing these 20-man shops. Like, especially if you have to have 20 people to pay the bill. That's right. You know, that's my thing. Like, do the shops, but don't put yourself in a situation where you have to have, and you know, and me and him talk a little bit, you know, that's kind of what he did in his very first shop. Like he has to have a certain amount of barbers in there to pay that bill because it's so expensive. You know, and it's like, it's a learning curve. He learned from that, you know, and I learned from it too. Now, just like his experience, now I know if I was to ever go open up another shop, because I've never opened a shop, I bought one. So there's a lot of things I don't know on that side because I didn't have to do it. You know, like I just took one that was established. I didn't even have to have inspectors or nobody come in. It was just a transfer of ownership. Basically, the shop was already in the system. I didn't have to do none of that. No state board inspector came in, none of that. Like, it was like, all right, just transfer ownership, blah, blah, that. And it was done, and it was that simple. And I was like, all right, this is simple. And then I think I've owned the shop now like 6-7 years. Like since I bought it. Yeah, 6-7 years. Like I think I've owned the shop. I'm gonna be honest, I hate it. Like I hate being a barbershop owner, because you're like a babysitter, man. Like
we deal with a different type, man.
Like you're a babysitter, but I do like the experience that I've gained from learning from it, because now what I'm gonna do in my next venture is like, I know what to do now, and I know how to do it, and I know what works and what doesn't work. So just because of some things I didn't like happening, and it was when you buy a person's business, it's hard to change a lot of things to your philosophies.
We've talked
very hard. You'll lose everybody that goes there if you like change, and it's like you're kind of like grandfathered into the rules, and that's what sucks. So if I was to ever do it again, I probably wouldn't buy a barbershop that somebody else ran, because you can't really change nothing. Like it's yours, but it ain't yours. Or you're gonna lose all the employees, and then we'll have to start from the ground zero. And if you don't have like crazy capital and money just sitting around, sometimes you can't afford to do that.
That's true.
So I would never do that again. I would never buy another business. That's like only business I would buy barbershop related is a school. Like if there was a school available, I would buy a school, because you could change the rules for a school. Like, hey, you don't have to go here. Go to the one around the corner.
Like I always told you, whenever you're ready to make that move, let's do it, man. Because he would be an awesome instructor and just school owner, man. Like definitely, that's already in your wheelhouse. So maybe as you get a little older and you start to fizzle out.
I think about it all the time, man. Because I was like, man, that's like, because I love teaching.
You love teaching, always have.
I love teaching, and I love like it goes to back what you were saying a while ago. Like, I don't consider myself a mentor, but I do consider myself like a person willing to help somebody. Like you can call me a little coach, because I don't want people to make the mistakes I made. I'm willing to give you the game where you don't have to make that mistake. Some people are still idiots. They want to make that mistake,
for sure.
But I don't want you to make that mistake. I'll tell you, like, listen, don't do it that way, bro. That road is not the right way. And I can see myself doing that. Like I love doing that. I want to help people grow.
That's dope. So what are you currently working on? We're kind of about to wrap up the interview, but what are you working on? What's your passion project now? I know
right
you got
now,
the shop,
I'm doing
family.
I got the shop, family, and then I'm doing this last 8 months. I've been shooting a basketball documentary for this Calvary Christian Academy in Fort Lauderdale. They were ranked in the nation. Really good team, like big time team. We won a state championship this year, and basically what we're trying to do, we're trying to put it on Netflix. We already got, it's big like that. Like, so it's like an 8-month project. Like I was shooting for the last 8 months, traveling all over the US with them, high school, flying around the country with a high school team. That's like mind boggling, Wow. You're going with a high school team. So, and what really gravitated with me with the team is you have to be Christian based to play on this team.
Okay.
You can't play on this team if you don't believe in God. Like you have to go to church. You have to be active in the church. And that was amazing to me, because it's like you got dudes on this team, nice. top 30 in the nation, and and they believe in God. Like, and it's like, that's wow. Awesome. I want to be part of something like that. That is, I've never seen sports that require that. That's right. Even Christian schools. We just want the best players. Right. Like this school ain't like, this one's not like that. And the coach, Christian Faith, like super, and I consider him like a mentor in my life. Like because of just his strong presence with the Lord, and then just how he handles these young athletes. That dude, 2 or 3 of these dudes might go to the NBA. Like that's how good they are. Like they're that good on this team. Like, and so it's mind boggling, and I'm with them, and I get to follow their journey, and then still doing what I love doing. I'm getting to do what I want to do. Like on the flip side, I want to be a documentary filmmaker. I want to tell those stories, and just being in the right position to even do it. I was on the phone with I've already had some interviews with some like big time people that told me how I need to shoot it, what I needed to do, and what I needed to capture. So it's either we're going Netflix or we're going LeBron James. Like we're going to his media company.
Wow.
You know, like yeah. So I've already spoke with those people on both sides. So I don't care where it goes. You know, I don't care. You know, like, and
Yes, sir.
I'm just happy that I was able to do something this long, like really 2-3-man band. You know, like with some of these other projects, you're talking they got 60 people helping them, and we was able to do all of this with 3 people.
Wow.
You know, like don't get it wrong, like it was very difficult, but in this, with me having to do so much stuff, I learned 1,000 years worth of knowledge that fast.
That's right.
You know, like you mess up a few things, it's like, all right, you won't ever do that again. You know, so that's where I'm at, and then I'm about to do something big in the barber industry. I can't talk about it yet, but it's about to happen.
We'll have you back on once that that go down. That's dope. Yeah, man, it's so funny you say that about the documentary thing. One of my other best friends, his name is Sidney Walker. We'll probably have him on soon. But he did. I don't know if you saw. You remember who DJ Screw is?
He didn't just do that.
He did that documentary. So y'all boys is killing it, man. I'm super proud of y'all, man. Like he was a big part of that mini document. It was on BET and everything.
Yeah,
man. Like,
DJ Screw got a movie coming out too.
Yeah, he's a part of all of that. So man. So I've already seen it happen. So when you say it, man, it ain't beyond the realm of what you can do, man. You just got to keep.
It goes back to what we said. You got to want it. You know, if you don't, it goes back that procrastination and what are you going to do to go get it? And like I said, losing a lot of sleep when you lose sleep, you're going to be successful, period, point blank.
There you go. That's a great way to end it out, man. I appreciate you, Junior. You killed it. I was telling Jason, I was like, bro, we ain't got to worry about it. We get this dude rolling. He'll talk the whole time, tell stories.
Yes,
so you've been a great guest, man. I
Always.
appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. Y'all boys continue this journey, man. This stuff is awesome. Hey, where can I watch this at, though?
It's going to be on everything. We drop them on Fridays. So once on Fridays, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want to look at it. And we also have a YouTube channel. So if you want to see the visual, it'll be on YouTube.
Perfect. I'll get my fam to watch it in the car, like because I don't listen to music no more, really. Yeah. I listen to podcasts all day. You know, that's it.
Bet. Well, all right, brother. I appreciate you, man. We'll tap in with you, okay? All right,
brother. Be blessed.
All right, you too.
Peace.
Peace.